Good morning, Your Honor. Elliot Blumberg on behalf of Ms. Hofstra is appearing via Zoom from my office.
Morning, Your Honor. Joel Shaw on behalf of Mr. Wilson, who is on Zoom at my office.
All right, I do see Mr. Wilson is with us and Ms. Hofstra is with us as well. This was set, I believe, as a review hearing for the court's previous order after de novo custody hearing. And then I believe that there's been a motion to modify parenting time. I don't know if that's scheduled in front of me or not.
It is not.
That. All right, I'll just wait on that then. So, Mr. Blumberg, I'm going to go ask for your review analysis at this point first, and then I'll go to Mr. Shaw, and then I'll hear the parties if there's any need to do that. So, Mr. Blumberg, from your perspective as to how things have been going on the following the court's order.
Well, there have been some issues in regard to the exchanges, which I believe is the subject of Mr. Shaw's motion pending before the referee. Katie McMasters is the child's therapist who is, there she is. If she could be allowed in, she could probably give us an update.
She is here now. Ms. McMasters, good morning. This is Judge Hesselink. We're here on the Hofstra and Wilson matter. Mr. Blumberg has indicated that you are the therapist for the child. And could you tell me how things have been going from your perspective?
Yes, things are going well. She's doing well and she's opening up more. She has progressed in being more comfortable and being more open in sessions.
What is your plan moving forward with her as far as how often you meet together and the length of the time that you're going to continue to meet together?
I plan on still continuing. She's got she still has reservations, but she's doing very well. I meet with her about a half hour every week or it's supposed to be every week. So I'm going to continue that as long as her mother and father are fine with that. I think she needs it.
Thank you. Part of my court order was if you deemed it appropriate, deciding whether or not to have joint counseling with the father to address any issues that you thought might be appropriate for that. Do you believe that joint counseling would be appropriate or not?
I would like to stick with individual counseling just for the child, but like, I don't mind bringing him in for updates on the progression of the sessions.
All right. Have you talked to him at all up to this point?
I have one time.
All right. Do I need to do anything to assist you in that process, or are you able to handle that all on your own?
Nope, I can handle that. I can contact him and get him in for another update on sessions.
All right. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate that. Mr. Blumberg, do you have any questions for Ms. McMasters?
I don't believe I do, Judge. I guess I'm just, if I might, Ms. McMasters, the concerns that the child has in regard to being sleeping by herself at her father's home, is that an issue that she talks about or something that is still a concern of hers?
That is still something we are working on. It seems to be improving slowly, but there are some concerns there still.
Okay. Has she said anything at all about these exchanges when she leaves from her mother's to her father's and the return? Has that been an issue discussed at all?
She has not brought those up to me, no.
Okay. I don't have any other questions, Judge. Thank you.
Mr. Straw, do you have any questions for Ms. McMasters?
Just quickly, Ms. McMasters, can you give us a sense generally what it is that you and the child are working on?
We work on her feelings and instances that have happened and scenarios like what she experienced, I guess, is what she focuses on. She gets worried that people will get angry and there will be fights.
Okay.
So we talk about things like that.
And you said that you're counseling with her on a weekly or something close to that?
It's a half hour. It was weekly. There's been times I've had to cancel because of my own personal issue or field trips for kids, but most of the time, yes.
Okay. And when you characterized her as opening up, was that in regards to her opening up kind of with you as a, for lack of a better term, a stranger, or opening up about something specific?
No, that's just her like opening up to me, being knowing she's can talk to me about anything, and she's building a rapport where she knows I'm trying to help, and she can tell me how she feels and what she feels about things.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. McMasters. Appreciate your time here today.
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Blumberg, anything else that you want to bring to my attention?
I don't think so, Judge. Again, I think that the situation seems to be settling down. Certainly, the incident that brought us before the court some months ago uh, hopefully won't happen again. I would hope that if Mr. Wilson could talk to the child's therapist, that would be beneficial for everybody. But I don't know if he feels there's a need to do that or not.
All right. I want to hear from Mr. Straw now, and then I'll ask both sides for their recommendations going forward. So, Mr. Straw, from your perspective, how are things going?
Well, I'm relatively new on the case, Judge. From my perspective, or I guess my understanding is that the incident that brought this matter before the court occurred approximately a year and a half ago, and there was an outburst by my client that stemmed from a confrontation with Miss Hofstra's boyfriend. I know he recognizes that he made grave error in judgment that incident a year and a half ago. But what I'd like to see the court do is essentially return him to the type of parenting time that he had before, which was weekend visits, overnight visits on every other weekend. And in regards to the motion to modify parenting time, Mr. Blumberg's correct. It relates to the exchanges of the child and trying to keep those more tempered by way of only having the parties present to do those exchanges. I don't care if they still happen at a public place, but I think that if it were just the parties exchanging the child, that would improve these exchanges fairly significantly. Another alternative that I've discussed with my client is if the court would consider doing a Friday after school until Monday when school starts, then the parties wouldn't have to interact with each other at all in the short term. Obviously, we're running into a situation where school is about to be released for the summer break, but I think that might aid the parties in their dealings with each other. As I understand that Mr. Wilson and Ms. Hofstra can cooperate fairly easily together. It's when third parties get involved. So again, my request for the court, now that we're a year and a half down the road, my client is counseling individually, the child's in counseling individually. I think we can revert back to something closer to what was previously court ordered for the time being.
Mr. Blumberg, what would you like to see done?
Well, I would be most interested to learn about how Mr. Wilson's counseling is going or who he's counseling with. I mean, the court will recall the video and the concerns that everybody had. And I'm certainly hopeful that that type of behavior isn't likely to happen again. But I don't know, maybe we could hear from Mr. Wilson in regard to the frequency of his counseling and how that's going and what's being addressed.
That's fine with me, Judge, if you want. to put Mr. Wilson under oath, I'll give some brief testimony from him.
Mr. Wilson, if you'd raise your right hand, please. You swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Schroff, go ahead.
Thank you. Kyle, you understand that the reason that this matters essentially before the court today relates to an incident between you and Ms. Hofstra's boyfriend in December of 2024, correct?
Correct.
And your behavior during that incident, do you believe that it was appropriate or inappropriate or something else?
Highly inappropriate. Absolutely. Certainly considering the setting in front of other children.
Okay. As you heard Mr. Blumberg say, and probably the court and myself, we're all interested to hear about your individual counseling. Can you tell us what you're doing in that regard?
Certainly. Thank you, Joel. And actually, I was going to have my therapist, whose name is Stephen Wallace, I was going to have him in contact with you before today, but it was just too short of a notice of me getting in contact with him because he requires me to sign a release form in order for the two of you to speak. But maybe I could get that done today after I leave here. I've been going bi-weekly to see Stephen, and we've been working mostly on, impulse control during heightened states of emotions in those situations, such as, the one that I found myself in a year and a half ago with Matthew Sargent, and controlling those impulses and not allowing myself to internalize other people's actions and behaviors, and by default, not letting that influence my actions. I am so apologetic about what happened that night all that time ago. I cannot take it back. The best I can do is move forward and not have any repeats. Really what it is that Stephen and I think, as far as terminology is concerned, are working on is cognitive behavioral therapy, which is mostly just kind of analyzing situations in real life in real time, and then, asking myself why I'm feeling how I'm feeling, where that's stemming from, where that's rooting from, and what to do with those feelings in those moments of heightened states of emotions.
Okay. You're meeting with Stephen every other week. How long are your sessions?
They are 30 minutes.
Okay. And how long have you been working with Stephen? Do you know?
Probably the last 3 years.
Okay. Has it always been a every other week session schedule?
No, sir. I've ramped the session frequency up because of the severity of the situation that we're currently in here with the courts. So that's just me individually doing the absolute most that I can within reason of frequenting my therapist. It's in the world of therapy, that's a lot. Usually it's a monthly thing. So bi-weekly is about the most that I could get in there.
Do you feel that you have benefited from your therapy sessions with Stephen?
Yes, he is one of the few people that in my life I feel like I can actually open up to in a genuine manner. So it's just a very healthy situation.
Has it improved your impulse control?
Certainly.
Do you have a fairly good working relationship with Ms. Hofstra?
Yes, sir.
You heard my statements in regards to third parties and their involvement in exchanges of the child. If that situation where there's other third parties involved that the court doesn't have jurisdiction over was somehow corrected so that it would be just you and Ms. Hofstra engaging in these exchanges, or using essentially the school as an exchange hub, do you think that would be an improvement overall?
I certainly do, either of which would both be an improvement, but certainly the greatest, I think, option of the two would be involving the school pickup and drop off.
All right. And you do have relatively frequent contact with your daughter, although the duration's fairly limited, on Saturdays or several Saturdays per week. How are those visits going?
The visits are good, and like you said, they're short, so they're very brief. But my daughter's happy. She has certainly, as Katie has put it, has improved. She seems to have kind of leveled out. She's playing well with other children, and we go see Celeste's grandkids and other stuff. So she's interacting in a healthy manner. I don't see anything that seems out of sorts. She's very happy and comfortable with me and everyone around.
Okay. Do you foresee any issue expanding to something close to what you had before in regards to overnight parenting time?
No, I do not.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have for Mr. Wilson, Judge.
Mr. Blumberg, any questions?
Let's have a couple. Mr. Wilson, the counseling you're receiving, if I understood your testimony, has to do with impulse control. Those weren't just the issues that were of concerning to the court. There were postings that you had where you had a gun, or at least whether it was real or a toy gun, that were rather threatening. And you had talked about doing yourself in, that you didn't have any reason to live. Are you addressing any of those issues in your counseling?
Well, I believe the way you just presented all of that information was skewed. I have spoken with my therapist about all of those things and about how the context of all of those situations was skewed. But he understands what I'm going through, and we're just kind of doing our best to do everything in a genuine manner and not just jumping through hoops for the court's sake. So in short, I have brought all of those concerns up with Stephen Wallace, yes.
Did you share those postings with him?
Yes, I did.
So I think you've acknowledged that you've been seeing Mr. Wallace or Dr. Wallace, whatever his credentials may be, for 3 years now, but it's only recently that you've been going on a regular basis. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that frequency is once a week for 30 minutes?
Once every other week for 30 minutes.
Okay. And you think that that's a sufficient amount of time?
I do.
Do you have some sense that Ashley feels a bit intimidated by you, and that if these exchanges were simply you and she might feel uncomfortable given what she's witnessed in the past?
I do understand that.
Okay. And you mentioned Celeste. She's your significant other that supervises your visits. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. Is she the one that does the transferring at all, or is it exclusively you?
She has been doing the transfers.
Okay. So when you file a motion and ask that no third parties be involved, it's not you that's doing the transporting. It's your girlfriend, right?
I believe if the court decides that we need to make that modification here today, that I will be the party doing the pickup and drop-offs in those situations. I've only removed myself recently from those pickup and drop-off situations because of the third party's involvement, creating such a physical and legal liability for myself. So what I did to render that situation was remove myself from it.
You understand that issue really isn't before the court today, that you filed a motion that's going to be heard by the referee, right?
Correct.
Judge, I have nothing else. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Wilson. Counsel, how would you like to resolve any issues going forward? What do you want me to order today? What